one simple test that changed my life. One, my magnesium red blood cell. I had gone my childhood, my teenage years, my 20s, and into my 30s with low vitamin D status. I never converted my cholesterol into vitamin D very well. And it's so important to have a strong vitamin D. We know that more than ever in 2022, when this is being recorded, we know that a strong vitamin D is powerful. And here's the test. You can't get it from your doctor. Well, let me put a disclaimer. So far, I've never found a Western medical doctor that has access to this test. You can go online to walkinlabs.com and order a magnesium red blood cell test. If that magnesium is below 6.3, your vitamin D is not optimal because we have a relationship, a total relationship going on with vitamin D and magnesium, and it's not being talked about enough. Well, I've been talking about it for 20 years. But there's so many people that I want to reach. And I want people to understand that their magnesium status changes their vitamin D status. Now, when we go to the doctor, we get, well, most of you probably check and see what you've got. You get a vitamin D test, and it tests one of the two vitamin D levels. We have calcidiol and calcitriol. Calcidiol is the stored, and that's what you get tested with Western medicine. But I want the whole picture. I don't want just part of it. I don't want part of the movie. I want to see the ending, right? Do you want to see the ending? We just went to Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. Loved, loved, loved that movie. And I needed the ending. I wanted the whole thing. Just like our vitamin D and our magnesium, we need the whole picture. We need our magnesium red blood cell. We need to know if we're at 6.3 or above. We need our calcidiol, which is our stored, our calcidiol, which is our stored vitamin D. We need our calcitriol, which is our active vitamin D. And if you start searching studies are showing a pattern. And that pattern is simple, that your active vitamin D needs to be about 1.5 to 2 times higher than your stored vitamin D. And if we're just looking at stored vitamin D, we're missing the picture. I would have missed the fact that Mrs. Harris got her dress, her beautiful dress. She got the dress. Mrs. Harris got her beautiful dress. And I wanted to know that in the movie. I was very caught up in her story. And I want to have the whole picture. And that's why I'm talking about magnesium and calcidiol and calcitriol and magnesium RBC, because it's the whole picture at building a strong foundation. And yesterday, on day 2 of our magnesium 30-day challenge, we talked about how when you get your vitamin D status up there, it starts to plug, heal, and seal your gut. And there are so many things I did. I wasted so much money when in actuality, I needed sunshine. I needed magnesium. And that's what did the trick for me. Now, remember, my name's Kristen. I'm a magnesium advocate. I am not a doctor. I am not a nurse. I'm not any of those things. I am someone who loves sharing the process of what I've learned to put my health back on track, because I have a belief. And that belief is this: we need women who are waking up feeling so good that they create a better space for the children in their lives and around them, whether it's their children or the community's children. We need to be taking better care of children. We need to be more in tune with their needs. And if women are waking up going, oh, 15 more minutes, I just need 15 more minutes, and you're hitting the snooze alarm 3 times or maybe 5 times, that's not a woman waking up feeling great. That's a woman waking up just pushing to make it through the day. And when you push like that to make it through the day, that means you're calcium dominant. Think of cement. When you're mixing cement, you throw calcium in, it hardens the cement. Well, I love the Pilates saying in Pilates that the more flexible your spine, the younger you are. You need flexibility in your arteries and your veins and your spine and your muscles and your tendons. Flexibility is the key to longevity. And if we're calcium dominant beings, bodies that are calcium dominant, we don't have that flexibility. Now, calcium is important, but we need it in proper ratio to magnesium. And so that simple test, the magnesium red blood cell test, and if it's low, your vitamin D is always low, always. So a magnesium red blood cell at 6.3 or above, and the vitamin D calcidiol that is stored, and calcitriol that is active. And then let's look at the relationship, because I think part of the problem of what so many of us are frustrated with about Western medicine, and I love the people in Western medicine that are diligent and work hard, and even they will tell you the system is broken. And part of the reason that it's broken is we're just looking at a test and checking off the number. Oh, it's fine. Oh, your thyroid looks fine. Oh, this looks fine. Your iron looks fine. This looks fine. This is fine. Our bodies are more complicated than that. They're simple, but they're complicated. And it's not just a fall in this range. It's the relationship. It's how they interact and connect with each other between your magnesium RBC, your vitamin D, active and stored, calcidiol and calcitriol. And that's 3 separate tests. Now, sometimes the best option is to go have your doctor run those labs, or a naturopath to run. Usually a naturopath will have access to those labs. Not always. But here's the thing, mine won't. And so the really beautiful thing about living in 2022 is we can go to a lab online and purchase those ourselves. You can use a health savings account. I use my Flex account, and I can purchase a magnesium red blood cell. I can purchase a calcidiol vitamin D. I can purchase a calcitriol vitamin D, and I can look at those ratios myself. And then I can take even more responsibility for my health, and I can file those so that I can start to see what's happening in the spring versus the summer versus the winter. And I can start to see patterns in those tests. And I think so many times we are okay with the doctor saying, it's good, your numbers looked good. That's not enough for me. It's not enough. I want to know what the numbers are, and I want to know the relationship between the numbers. And I should have gotten some water before I started. And talking about numbers, I think, or talking about relationships, did you realize that the people who are the healthiest are deeply connected to people that are important to them? And so it becomes not just soaking in magnesium, it's about building relationships and connections and enriching and making sure that those relationships that we have in our life mean something to us, and that we're actively supporting those relationships that are important to us. Healthy women are connected women. They're connected to the people they love. They're connected to causes they are passionate about, and they are connected to their own test results. They're not content to just have a doctor say, your numbers are good. I want to know what those numbers are. And I want to have access to those numbers in my home, not in the doctor's office, in my home, so I can pull them out and start learning and studying the relationships in those. And here's the thing, that has not been an overnight learning curve for me. It's something that I just add a little bit more all the time about learning to understand that blood work and the relationships between in my iron panel, the relationships in my thyroid panel, the relationships in a CBC with differential. That's a really inexpensive test that is so powerful. It gives you like so overemphasize the so, but it's really powerful. It's really an amazing test, and it runs about $25. Now, it's not just a CBC, it's a CBC with differential. And then once you start learning that, you can start picking up, does your body have a parasite load? Does your body have a bacterial load? Does your body have a viral load? Where is it that we need to fill in the space to create that strong foundation? Because we shouldn't be chasing our health. When we're chasing, we're coming from, usually, you're coming from a place of not enough and fear. And when we're in a place of not enough and I'm fearful this isn't going to happen, you have a high magnesium burn rate. So you say you want to be healthy, but you're chasing it and you're creating calcium dominance, even though you feel like you're doing all these things to create health. And so we really have to shift where we're coming from. And instead of chasing it down, we grab our backbone and we say, okay, I am building a strong foundation. I'm worth that. I'm worth the time. And yes, you have to say no to some things. You have to change your life to create that space for yourself. You have to stop giving away your time when it gets busy or when somebody needs you because they're desperate. You have to set up stronger boundaries. Healthy women have strong boundaries because calcium dominance does not give us flexibility in our bodies to do what we want to do, to move, to bend, and to run, and to play, and to skip, and to swing, or do those things that you love to do. And so making sure that our magnesium red blood cell is the test that changed my life. Now, I've had a unique situation that I had a surgery done. They put cadaver graft in me that was bought off market. It had mold on it. They put titanium screws in to hold up the cadaver graft to keep my bladder in place. And I have what's called Melissa syndrome. Melissa syndrome is a reaction to titanium. It took them a long time to figure that out because at the time, 20 years ago, the thinking was titanium was inert. And so it took that great big huge health crash for me to really wake up and say, I have to do something different. And if you're doing the same thing you've ever done and you're not willing to do anything different, but you want different results, you're putting yourself in a hard situation. You're creating your own hard in your life. So I like things easy and I like it to flow and I like it just to happen. And so to do that, we need to be in a place of we're building a strong foundation instead of chasing after things. And we work on our thyroid for a little bit, and then we work on our hormones for a little bit, and then we try some things so that we can sleep a little bit better. So I want to know, what things are you wanting to get better in your body? Like, are you focused on sleep? Are you focused on hormones? And let's talk about the ways that magnesium can help all of those things, because it doesn't heal everything. I never want to come across like that, but it does make a difference in the effectiveness of healing for whatever it is that you're working on. But before we work on things, there's a couple things we need to have in place. And one of those is that magnesium RBC. Another one is our lymph. Nobody talks about our lymph. There's no pill for your lymph. Well, maybe there is, not that I'm aware of. Your lymph moves when you move and when you're hydrated. I've never seen anybody talk about that. I've never seen an ad for it. I've never seen a commercial for it. I've maybe seen a couple social media posts of people trying to make a difference and trying to slow the onslaught of poor health, because we're sicker now than we were 10 years ago. It's taking longer for women to get to cell saturation now than it was even 5 years ago. We're getting sicker as a society. We are the most educated sick people that the planet has ever seen. And so we simply have to not stop educating ourselves. That doesn't sound right, because I love the process of learning, but we have to step up our action with our learning. If we learn something, take action on it. If I learn something on social media, I take action on it. I do something before I go on to the next thing, because that endless scrolling is keeping me in that constant dopamine hit of learning, learning, learning. And I become more educated and sicker from all the scrolling and all the learning. So there has to be this balance of learning along with action. So I want to know, what are you focused on? Like, maybe it's your hormones, maybe it's your thyroid, maybe you're like me and autoimmune is a part of your experience. And so you're really focused on building a strong immune system. Whatever it is that you're working on, magnesium makes it better. It doesn't heal it. I'm not saying it heals everything. I'm saying magnesium is the first thing that went off. So this is day 3 of the Magnesium 30-day soaking challenge. Now, you are not behind if you haven't started. Some people won't be starting until the 15th of August, but August is our month to gather sunshine, increase our vitamin D levels, get our magnesium up so that we can have the enzymes to take our stored vitamin D and turn it into active vitamin D and give our body that strong foundation. I cannot wait. After this live, I'll go check out the comments. For some reason, they're not showing up right now. I click on it and nothing showing up. So I'll go back after the live and check out the comments, and let's talk about those things that you're working on and what we need to do to build that strong foundation. So this winter, our immune is strong. We're able to fight virus. We're able to fight bacteria. We have the energy to get up in the morning and do those things that are in our heart, that we think about, that we dream about. We actually turn them into reality. That takes energy. And our mitochondria need magnesium to create energy. So let's start at the very beginning. Let's start with magnesium, 6.3 or above on a magnesium red blood cell test. And this was officially day 3 of the Magnesium 30-day challenge. Remember, it's a quarter cup for adults and 1/8 the cup for children. You'll need 2 32-ounce bottles to finish the magnesium challenge. And we want to soak for a minimum of 20 minutes. And at 45 minutes, you've utilized most of that magnesium. And our goal at the end of the challenge is to get tested. When we get tested, we have data feedback from our body that tells us how often we need to soak. So testing after your 30-day challenge is the last step to complete the 30-day challenge. Now, I've had a lot of texts and private messages and emails coming in saying, Kristen, I've started the challenges, but I've never finished them, and I am finishing this challenge. And I think that's incredible. Whether this is your first time doing a challenge or whether you do it every year with me in August and January, hooray. And I'm glad you're here and taking care of yourself and creating that space in your life for you to step in and care for your body. We'll see you tomorrow.